Hello, I'm Sharon Clark, and my student ID is 00100883T. This is my presentation for Counselling Roleplay, and the course code is ADVCOMCS13. During this roleplay, I'd like to demonstrate how basic counselling skills could be used in a day-to-day naturopathy practice. But before I begin, I'll just ask my volunteer to read the volunteer declaration.
Okay. I, Hadassah Bingham, on this 12th day of April 2014, agree to the inclusion of my contribution in this DVD video assessment, the nature of which has been explained to me. I understand that my contribution will be viewed by an assessor at the college for the purpose of assessment and marking. I am over the age of 18 and have agreed to be part of this DVD video assessment on a voluntary basis. I understand that this DVD video assessment or part of it may also be used for the purpose of further review at the college or used in moderation for validation processes. I understand and agree that my personal details and this DVD video assessment will be stored and archived in accordance with the college policy and procedure. I have read and understood the college privacy policy and procedure found at the college website. My contribution has, to the best of my knowledge, been truthful and honest. I have not deliberately sought to conceal any relevant facts from the makers of this DVD video or the assessment reviewers.
Thank you. Okay. Welcome back to the clinic, Hadassah. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Now, the last time I saw you, I gave you a treatment plan and some herbal medications because we were trying to get your blood pressure under control. You'd been complaining of very high blood pressure, and I was just wondering if you had been back to see your doctor and also how you're doing on the herbal medications, if it's helped you, and how you're doing with your blood pressure.
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, very well, very well. My doctor was very impressed. I went to see him and he took my blood pressure, of course, a couple of times because they need to, take a few times to see. And he was just so impressed. He's never seen my blood pressure this good. In fact, he said it was perfect. Perfect for my age group. And yes, and I knew...
For your age group? You are...
Oh, I'm in my 70s.
Okay.
Yes. And so he said to me, well, whatever you're doing, keep doing because it's going well. And I said, well, it's a natural... I've been to see a naturopath and they've put me on, she's put me on this herbal natural medication. And I'm no longer taking the drug that you prescribed because there were such bad side effects. And I told him that he knew about it. He knew about it because I complained several times that the side effects were nausea, disorientation, and there are quite a few aspects of it. And it didn't matter what drug they gave me, they all had bad side effects. And so he asked me if I had any side effects with the natural stuff, and I said none whatsoever. In fact, I said to him I was feeling very good. I said to him I even found that my tinnitus has improved with it as well.
Good. Okay. And so it sounds like your doctor is very supportive of you seeking a natural way of bringing your blood pressure under control. So he's supporting you?
Absolutely, because he just feels if it works, why not, And he asked me some questions about it. So yes, he's very supportive and very impressed.
That's very good. Now, since then, have you found that your blood pressure has stabilised and has stayed in the lower range, and you haven't had any more spikes in your blood pressure?
It's been excellent, but it has spiked.
Okay.
And there are reasons for that.
Okay, what do you think the reasons could be for that? And how does
well, I experience a lot of confrontation in my life.
Oh, confrontation?
Yes, I have an Alaskan Malamute dog.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what they look like. They look like a wolf, so they're pretty scary looking, but they're cuddly and beautiful like a big teddy bear. And every night I have to take him running. And when I do, sometimes I encounter confrontation from other people who are there running their leash-free dogs. It's a leash-free area. And he then...
Sorry, so this is one of the things that you say could be one of the stresses in your life?
Yes.
Okay, so before you do tell me any more about the things that are stressing you, I do need to also just tell you that sometimes it does help to talk about these things because this could be a cause of your high blood pressure. Now, as a naturopath, I'm not a trained counsellor, but I do know some basic counselling skills. And I'd just like you to be made aware of the fact that anything that you tell me here today will be kept confidential.
That's good.
However, throughout the consultation, I may need to make some notes for your patient file because that's also required by law.
Oh, okay.
But those notes and all your patient file will be kept under lock and key, and I'm the only person that has access to that. And we also will comply with all the privacy laws, because in this clinic we do comply with all those privacy laws, which also means that your information will not be shared with anyone else without your prior knowledge or consent. So if I have to share anything with another health practitioner, you will be told about that and you will be able to give your consent. So as a naturopath, I'm concerned in treating you holistically. I'm interested in treating you mentally, emotionally and physically.
Wow, that's impressive.
So that is why, because we see you as a whole person, we also look for underlying causes of things. And that's why I'm asking you about things that could possibly be triggering stress in your life. So if you're happy to tell me about just several incidences where you've noticed that you've felt stressed, or you know that your blood pressure's gone up, then perhaps that would be helpful for you. Would you like to do that with me today?
Yes, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
I've not seen a counsellor ever before.
Okay.
And so I'm not very experienced in it.
Oh, you don't have to be experienced. It's quite all right. You just relax and you just tell me, just in your own words, just some of the things. Give me some examples of things that have happened recently where you've noticed that you've felt stressful. And as you said earlier, you mentioned confrontation. You felt confronted. If you could just tell me about some of those incidences.
Well, it's like taking my dog. I have to take my dog, my Alaskan Malamute, running every night.
Okay, yes.
And then I get, I sit in my car and then he runs next to me because, you know, they need to run.
Okay.
Snow dogs. And we would meet other people walking their dogs. And in some instances, I would be confronted by these people because my dog is very friendly. And he'll always run up to them and say, how do you do to them, and then he wants to, you know, obviously sniff the other doggies, and they all want to say how do you do. And some people find this very frightening because he looks like a wolf and they get frightened.
Okay.
So then they start shouting at me and saying, get your dog under control. Why don't you have your dog under control? Well, it's a leash-free area, excuse me, hello. So they start yelling and shouting, and what it ends up with me, them being angry with my dog, putting them in the car, going home, and that's the end of our beautiful walk. And when I get home, I know my blood pressure is sky high, and I go and check it with my monitor. I have a monitor that monitors it. And yes, but you know, after a while I take my medication and then I'm calmed down again.
Okay, and besides the confrontations that you're experiencing when you go and walk the dog, is there anything else in your day-to-day life that is causing you any undue stress or pressure?
Do you mean like when I wake up in the morning?
Well, just throughout your day, just tell me about just a normal day for you and the things that you experience throughout your day.
Well, I live in a big house that I bought. It was very small for my mommy and I. Mm-hmm. Somewhere to live and to have a roof over her head, and I became her carer. But anyway, I would wake up in the morning and have my day planned because I have to manage my day because I work 4 days a week from home,
Okay.
And I have a profession to get extra money to substitute my pension.
Okay.
Because I'm still paying off the mortgage on my house, which is pretty heavy. And if I wake up and everything's good, my dog's happy, I'm happy, but then I'll get up and find, the plumbing's blocked, or a door won't close anymore, the door's jammed, or a wall's, whatever. Things just happen. And I have to do all these repairs myself, be a plumber, tiler, electrician, carpenter. And so I have to face these things, and they're very overwhelming for me because they're out of my skills. I'm not a skilled plumber and all that, but I can't afford to hire tradesmen, so I do the best I can. And I find this very stressful sometimes because, as I say, I'm not skilled to do this.
Okay, so...
And that's when my blood pressure goes up.
If I understand what you're saying that throughout the course of your normal day, if things are calm and within what you would deem to be a normal day, things are fine, but it's when things out of the ordinary happen where you feel you have no control over it, you start to feel overwhelmed.
Yes.
And that's when you notice that you're feeling stressed.
Yes.
And your blood pressure is going up, and then you test yourself, and
yes, and then it'll be very high.
Okay, at those times.
Yes.
Now, earlier you were also talking about taking your dog for walks and how the people were harassing you, and you were feeling confronted.
Yes, I've been harassed.
Because it sounds like from day to day, although you're coping, there are things that are happening outside of the home which you feel you don't invite or have control over. Is there any particular incident that you could tell me about where you've particularly had a problem with taking your dog for a walk that was very confronting?
There seems to be a lot of the time incidences, but current instant would be when I went down. I'm always trying to find different venues to take my dog.
Oh, okay.
Where there are less people and less other dogs. Okay, so there's no confrontation, trying to keep things calm. And the one instance when I took my dog down to the river, where other people do take their dogs to the river, and they all swim in the river and play, and there's often lots of children there and things like this. But on this one occurrence, you asked me current.
Okay.
The latest thing is that while I went down, and there was only one other person. There was a man with his two dogs, which are not small, they were medium, and they were playing in the river, and he was throwing sticks with them, and then my dog played with him, and it seemed very nice. He seemed very nice. He was throwing sticks, and my dog was enjoying himself, and I was really very contented and happy with it all. And at the river, they have a wooden bridge, which was under repair, which I thought is very good, because it's a safety thing now. When the children and people go with their dogs, they can go from one side of the park to the other, where the bridge is, and not encounter vehicles coming across. And I just think that's pretty good. I wish it could always be like that, but of course not. It's a public bridge, and the public vehicles need to go across it. So this man said to me, they're repairing the bridge. And I said, yes, I see that. That's a pity. I said, boy, it's so nice now, we feel all safe and secure. And then he just lost his temper and looked at me and said, how could I say such a thing? This is a historical monument for the town. And he went straight away into foul language at me and used, and really was very aggressive. And I couldn't understand what have I said and done to encounter this. In the meantime, my dog is still in the river. And he just then suddenly approached me and knocked me over. And I went backwards, and it was a terrible incident. I was very, very frightened. There was a lady across of the other side of the park who saw it. In fact, she was starting to scream for her husband because she got frightened too. And I went backwards, and I was wearing slops that day, so of course my feet falling out of the shoes didn't help, did it? And then he suddenly just called his dogs and off he walked. And I was left there absolutely shaken and terrified.
And he just left you there lying on the ground?
Just left me lying on the ground, and off he went. And so then I called my dog, went over and spoke to that lady, saw that she was okay, and she could see the terrible state I was in. And straight away, see, I know when my blood pressure goes up, I have tinnitus, and my tinnitus rings very high. So I put my dog in the car, went down to the police station because this lady said that's what I should do. But the police said, like, who is he? I don't know his name. Where does he live? I don't know where he lives. He went off into the bushes with his 2 dogs. Very little they could do for me. So I went home and tried to just calm down and, just thinking to myself, oh, not another incident, really and truly.
Well, I can see how an incident like that could be very confronting and very upsetting, and would certainly be a very stressful event. And I'm not surprised that your blood pressure went up that day. But it also sounds like your dog means the world to you.
Oh, yes, he does. Since my mom died, he's my companion.
Okay, your mom died?
Yes, my mom died. My mom came and lived with me quite a few years ago, and I became her carer. She had a stroke, developed dementia, and severe incontinence. And so I took care of her, renovating this huge big house to try and make it more comfortable for us, and try to build an extra suite onto the house for her. And then look after her daily needs, as well as still running my little small business and doing repairs and seeing to her and her diet and all that. She had to be on medication, because if I knew as much as I know now about herbal stuff and health stuff, I think we would have both been better off. I could have got onto that. It would have helped. Whereas the medication she was taking didn't really help a whole lot. But she'd be very difficult at times. She would argue with me.
So you found it difficult?
I found it difficult because she was difficult. Because she would think today was Tuesday and I knew it was Monday, and she would argue with me, and it would frustrate me. And with everything else on top of me, all the things that I had to be responsible to take care, and I still had my dog then as well.
Okay.
I would just lose it at times. I would get so angry with her, and sometimes I would even shake her. Yes, it's terrible. I mean, this 89-year-old lady being shaken by me. I'm in my 70s, so, I just think that being in my 70s now, surely, Anyway, it was difficult, and my mom eventually did die, and she went to heaven, which I'm glad of, but I still have terrible regrets of the way I treated her. I just feel I should have had a lot more patience with her, and a lot more, spend a lot more time with her. I'd sit on my beautiful veranda in the beautiful view and have tea with her, which I could never do, and I still can't do.
Okay, so it sounds like even though you're in your 70s and you feel like maybe you've come to the time in your life now where you should probably be winding down and having a rest, you've had to take care of a house, take care of your sick mum, and somebody with dementia, which is very demanding.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Well, as you said, it is very difficult and demanding, and you became very frustrated.
Yes, I did.
And very overwhelmed.
Yes, very overwhelming, yes.
And now you're saying that you're feeling, but you're still feeling some regrets, and you're feeling kind of guilty about the way things were when your mom was alive, and the fact that you felt that you didn't deal with it as well as you probably could have. So you not only feeling overwhelmed with all this going on in your 70s. I'm just wondering how you see your life going forward from here.
Well, I've realised I've got to slow down now and cut down a lot of my responsibilities, and I've tried to get into a lot of retirement homes, but none of them will take my dog.
Oh.
They will not take a dog bigger than a 10 kgs, and he weighs 45 kgs.
Wow.
So I haven't been able to find anywhere else where I could sort of, step back and not have all these responsibilities. And of course financial burdens, a terrible expense to run that place. I've actually tried hiring out the section that I built for my mother. It's pretty separate from the house, and I've hired it out as a little flatlet. It's got a garage and a lovely garden. And I tell you, one tenant after another has just been an absolute burden.
So that's become more of a burden to you than a help?
Yes.
Okay, and so financially you feel that you need to have that extra income, but at the same time you've got to offset that against them being an added burden
Oh,
to you?
absolutely, especially this last guy that's there. He's supposed to, the garden, I've given him, take care of the garden and keep the place neat and tidy. But when I said to him, please, part of your contract with me is that you will keep this garden clean and cut the plants and neat and tidy. He says to me, get a garden service. Why can't you get a garden service? And I think to myself, hey, I'm trying to financially carry everything else here. I can't afford to get a garden service, So he just doesn't do it. But I thank the Lord that he is moving out, so he's got his own place. So I don't even know if I want to ever rent it again, because I just think the burden is, and it puts a lot of stress on my pressure, for which I've been treating for.
So you'd like to simplify your life, but you feel responsible for caring for your dog.
Yes.
And you can't give up your dog. So all this burden is on you. And even though you have tried a few things to try and get some financial relief, you still feel that you would like to simplify your life further, but you're also kind of feeling maybe a little...
Guilt?
Still feeling guilt over your mum?
Yes, I feel very guilty about my mum, and I feel very guilty giving away my dog, because just because my life is difficult and stressful, and he adds to it, you just don't throw your doggies or your children away, do you? No.
Okay, so you have children?
Yes, I do. I have 2, but they live far from me. They're about 4 hours away from me. If I lived closer to them, I think my problems wouldn't be so bad, because my son would be there to help me, and so would my daughter. But they're 4 hours away, and I can't live in the areas they live because it's too expensive. I've looked to rent. There would be an impossibility on my pension, and even with supplementing it, with my 4 days a week working, so wouldn't be affordable.
And it also sounds like, in addition to dealing with all this, you also seem to have a deep faith that you're finding comforting.
Oh, I do, yes. I'm a Messianic Jew. I don't know if you know what that means, but yes, I'm a believer in God, and I'm a Messianic Jew. So yes, I have a very strong faith, and if I didn't have that, things would probably be a lot worse. And it's comforting to know that where my mother is, where I believe she is, in heaven. I know everybody believes everybody goes to heaven, but that's part of our faith, our Messianic Jewish faith. I'm a Jew, by the way.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so at this time in your life, you feel that after losing your mum, all you have left is your dog. Your children are far away from you.
Yes.
And you feel responsible for being his carer, just like you were with your mum.
Yes.
You can't let him down in the way that you feel maybe that you let your mum down.
No, I do. I feel I let my mum down terribly. I looked after for about 10 years, I think.
It's a long time. And in addition to that, you were also trying to deal with everything else.
Yeah, well, building a house, as I said, yes. Building it too, boy, and trying to get the money together to build it all. To get, obviously structures have to be done by qualified people, but I had to do all the inner, the ceilings, the tiling.
It's incredible. Well, Hadassah, you sound like a very strong person. For a lady of 70, you accomplish a huge amount.
Thank you.
You not only raised 2 children.
Yes.
Then you cared for your sick mother.
I did, yes.
Now you're caring for quite a large, demanding dog.
Yes.
You've had to renovate a house.
Yes.
You're running a business.
Yes.
Also dealing with a difficult tenant and tenants. And having to do all that, I'm not surprised that you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed.
I do.
I do. Because I'm not a trained counsellor, I really think you could benefit from talking to a trained counsellor, professional, a little bit further about some of these issues that you've raised today.
Yes.
Because, sometimes just talking to somebody can certainly help to relieve some of that stress, and also a professional counsellor would give you some tools to help you cope from day to day, and I think that can be very beneficial in also helping to get your stress under control.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
And I can see, just sitting here telling me the story already, I can see that you are looking quite stressed and...
Yeah, but I feel a lot better telling it to you, I must say, I realise now having this sort of session with you, that I really do need to be referred to a counsellor. So if that could be arranged, I'd be very grateful.
Yes, Hadassah, I'll write a letter of referral for you.
Oh, thank you.
And then you can take that to the counsellor. Now, is there anything else?
Well, I can't financially really afford to go to a professional counsellor. I'm very sorry, but I would love to, but I couldn't afford to. So I don't know if there's anything in the system.
Yes, certainly. I can write a letter for you to take to your doctor.
Yeah.
So instead of just going directly to the counsellor, I'll give you another counsellor. I'll give you a letter to take to your doctor. And as you've already said, that he's quite supportive of this path that you're following.
Yes, yes.
And there is, he can refer you to an allied healthcare counsellor.
Oh.
And if your doctor feels you qualify, and he can fill out those forms for you. He can refer you on to an allied healthcare professional, and Medicare will cover most of those costs. And you can, as far as I remember, you can go for about 5 visits a year, and Medicare will cover that.
Wow, that sounds great. No one's ever told me that before.
So,
thank you.
What I think we'll do going forward is I'd like you to continue with your treatment plan that I've given you, your herbal medications, and then I'd like you to come back and see me after you've seen a counsellor. So that I can monitor your progress going forward and your path to wellness.
That's fine.
And before you leave, I'll also give you a brochure. I have a brochure about the Medicare claim scheme that you can take with you as well to your doctor and explain to him that that's what you'd like to do. And I think then I'll see you after you've been to the counsellor, and we can take it from
you want me to come back?
Yes, please. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
No,
I need to see you again.
Problem.
So just as soon as you've seen the counsellor,
yes,
make an appointment.
Yes.
Come back and see me, and then I will. We can just assess where you're at then, and then we can take it from there. But certainly do continue with the treatment plan, because that seems to have been working very well.
Yes, it has.
So now, before we finish up today, Hadassah, is there anything else that you have that's concerning you?
Don't know. I don't think about anything else.
Okay. So thank you for coming in to see me then, Hadassah. Thank you very much.
Well, I owe all my thanks to you, actually, because look at all this information you've given me, which no one has in all the years. And I mean, I'm in the system. You would have thought someone would have picked up something by now, but nobody's ever told me what you've just told me, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Because, I even need to go to other facilities like, in the natural therapy, like chiropractor, and that. Now I can't, because I can't afford it. But now you say there is this.
There's a
great.
Resource. That's correct.
So there are other resources.
Thank you. Well, that's very encouraging to hear. Thanks, Hadassah.
Thank you very much, Sharon. It was nice meeting you.
Okay.